Hello. Hello. Hey guys, I am talking through my computer, which has a built-in microphone array apparently to the actual computer. I didn't even know it was in like built into the computer. Of course, every computer usually probably has one in there. Anyway, I don't have my microphone right now. So I'm going to be talking to you. It's going to sound a little echoey because literally I'm talking across a desk to you. But I am here. People asking if I'm still around. Yes, I'm still around. I have not made any videos on YouTube for a while. And that's because of the response I was getting each time that I was making a YouTube video was like cops to my house and what else happened? Let's see, the cops came. Oh, CBS News came to my mom's house, my 80-year-old mother's house. CBS News showed up there. Each time I'm making a video on YouTube, the New World Order is responding by like going over the top on me, like to send me a message to not make any more videos. This really happened. This really has happened. So anyway, just laying low. I'm trying to decide like if I want another visit kind of thing, if I make another video on YouTube. It's basically like threatening me without saying anything by sending people to the house or sending things to the house to cause problems. Anyway, I've got to lose the fear and just do an update and record it to YouTube and then set up a bunch of cameras outside to catch all the shit that happens after I do it. Anyway, we're doing okay. And you guys now, you probably have seen if you're paying attention to what's going on. Of course, there's the earthquake that struck over here in Greece. This is back where the significant earthquake struck about 2 weeks ago. There was a significant earthquake here in Greece, or maybe a week and a half ago. Now it's back. The same location is moving, but then up to the north and northeast, all the way out to Svalbard and back down across, let's just say, the Bosnia area, right along the Adriatic Sea, east of Italy. We got a 4.1. And so this is actually, to me, this is a good sign to see a 4 go east of Italy and then another 4 to pop off up here. That's a sign that the energy is going around the outside edge of Europe. And to see this go on over here, all the way over at Morocco, south of Spain, another 4 basically. So we got basically two 4s, or 3.8 and a 4.1, going around the outside edge of Europe, the southwest side and the northeast side. And in the middle here, everybody's worried, and I don't blame them, about Campi Flegrei, the volcano there that Campi Flegrei, however you say it in Italian. I'm not Italian. I'm not going to try and even say it right. But Campi Flegrei volcano, it's a super volcano. It's a massive ancient complex, and there's worry that it could erupt. But the seismic there, I think, is pretty much dependent on the flow coming in from over to the east. So the flow comes across Greece, goes up into Italy. It's been getting directed to the volcano by look, I know it's controversial. I'm just going to say it, though. By the giant star fort, the ancient 3,000-foot high star fort down in South Italy that was lost in history, apparently. And it's made of mountains, so I don't blame everybody for not seeing it. I mean, come on, it's like ancient civilization stuff. That's what's doing it. Let me just sign off right now. I hate even talking about this stuff because it's so weird. Anyway, that's been directing the flow back to Campi Flegrei instead of allowing the flow to go up along the plate boundary. There was a break that happened here many, many, many months ago, almost a year ago. And since then, there's been jack squat going up to North Italy, jack squat going up across Slovenia and up into Austria and Italy's border with Switzerland. There has been hardly anything as the seismic flow has been going into Italy itself, being directed right down here in the boot, right there at the boot foot, not the heel, but I call that the foot of Italy. Right down there, there is that ancient structure or symmetrical mountains. Okay, so that's our big earthquake there. Now, is Campi Flegrei going to erupt? No one knows. I don't forecast volcanoes. You guys know that. Now, seismically speaking, I would look between these two earthquakes. So, pretty easy to see. Where do the rings overlap? Still on Greece, the Ionia Range. Ionia, going right up into Um, well, Albania? Is that Albania? I have to guess. I have to guess. I haven't named the country in forever. Oh, it's not even listed on the map here. Hold on, let me show you. You wouldn't believe me if I did. It's not even listed on the European site. It is. It's Albania. I haven't forgot about you guys. Just took a minute to jog my memory, but look, they don't even have it on here. Instead, they have the names of the cities, which I guess that makes sense. Names of the cities in Europe. You'll know what country it is, right? So anyway, right here, just south, see where it says Ioannina? Okay, that's where we're going to watch. And the break there should be fairly significant. I would think it would be in the 6.0 range. If we have a 6 point something down here and a 4.1 up here, if we add them together, it equals 6.241. So 6.241 is still another 6.2, basically. We don't even round it up. So we look for another 6.2 or something very close to it to strike here at the Ioannina range. And then we watch for a break further up along the plate boundary, up between Turin and Milan, up in North Italy. And if that takes place, that would be good news because it would mean the seismic flow is going back to the way it was, as opposed to what it's been doing for the last several months, which is being pumped into the supervolcano there because of the shift that happened last year, which we could get into at another time. Now, if we go through the planet, directly through the planet to the antipode of Greece, that brings us right to here, right to the east side of Tonga and American Samoa. And boom, just a few days ago, we got our 6.0 level activity there. It was up to 6.5. That was at the start of the week, so 6 days ago. So they were back to back from each other, by the way. So Greece and Tonga, back to back antipode earthquakes. Then, in the past 3 days, another 6.5 to 6.6 struck here on the plate boundary next to Papua New Guinea in the area that I told you guys to watch several days ago when I got on and talked for a short period of time. Since then, on the opposite side of the plate, down here on the plate boundary south, the area that we were talking about watching for movement to happen last week. We're talking about looking down next to the Dutch Sense logo. I said Dutch Sense period and talked about the plate boundary down here where the X is, and we were going to look along this side because there was nothing. Last week, there was nothing along this side. So now it's been filled in. And it's been filled in from the point, or the tip of Antarctica, if you want to think of it like that. This is the last 2 to 3 days. And here's the last week. The only thing missing now is where the X is to be filled in. And, on the other side as well. 2 more earthquakes, and we would fill in the entire perimeter of all of Antarctica, which hardly ever happens in 1 week's time. So this is a fair amount of movement. That's what I'm getting at. This is a large amount of movement to see in a week, to see multiple 6.5s. We went. There was, I think, like a 2-month stretch where the most we saw was like 5.9. Like it was a long period of time that we didn't even see any 6s. And then 6s came back, 7s came back. Then the 8 hit. That was back down a few months ago, 2 months ago in the Caribbean, or the upper 7. Then another 8 hit on the opposite side of the world. And that was a confirmed 8. That was at the Myanmar, China, Thai area over here, Thailand, right over here. So that was basically 2 8s on both sides of the planet, one in the Caribbean, which they downgraded to 7.8, and the other one, which was an 8, which they downgraded to 7.8 as well, but everybody else kept it at 8 over at Thailand. And that's a return from, we had gone a year or more without an 8. This is all in the past couple months. Okay, that being said, what else is hit? 6.4 on the plate boundary to the south, 5.0 on the plate boundary to the south, both sides of the Dutch Sense logo. They overlap on the Dutch Sense logo, which means we have to watch the Dutch Sense logo, or on the name Dutch Sense, which is the plate boundary. I have it there so it's out of the way. We don't normally move much down here. It's only when the plate's really shifting, when the Indo-Australian plate is really moving, that we get activity down here next to Antarctica on the south side of Australia. So that's why my logo's there. So we don't hardly ever have to have my logo on the screen when I'm showing it. So it's pretty rare for it to get hit. And like this, I mean, to have it spread all the way across. Now, as that's all going, smack in the middle of the plate today, a rare 5.5 struck in Australia. For my Australian viewers, I think you could have seen this coming. I wasn't on here to show it to you, or I had the stream running, but we'd have to go back to what, 6 days ago? Look what came rolling in up to the northwest 6 days ago. A boatload of fives and a 6.5 on the north side of the plate boundary. See them? There's our 4.9s. So we have a 5.8, a 5.7 to 5.8, a 4.8, a 4.9, a 5, and a 6.5, all in the past few days on the north side of the plate boundary. And then it goes right over to our arrow where we cluster up, and that's where we come into the plate here with the seismic wave. Seismic wave tends to go into the craton, across, reflect into itself, and come back. And when it hits at one end of the plate, it reflects and it causes an earthquake down here in Southeast Australia. We should see significant movement in the 4.0 plus range, most likely, or a boatload of threes, but most likely a 4 strike down by Perth, and then a new earthquake also break out all the way up in the northwest side of the plate, northwest of Exmouth. Third spot to watch is going to be in the middle of the plate. We should see all this happen in the next few days in Australia. And it'll be most likely 4s on the outside edge of the plate over to the west and northwest. And in the middle, a 3 next to Uluru. And that should hopefully take care of it as the wave goes down, across, back, and across, and it drops off earthquakes along the way. The wave is trapped in the middle of the plate right now. I'd like to go look this up, though, and just quickly go see if there's anything of any significance there at all. This matters. So let's just go quickly look it up. Well, it never hurts to look things up. If you don't know what's there, better go look it up, especially when it's a significant earthquake, like one of the biggest ones in the past several months, or, well, actually in the past several years for Australia down there. Let's go take a quick gander at the earthquake information. Let's get it from the Australians. Geophone, hold on. Who's got the info? There we go, Australia. Oh, wow, they got a nice fancy map here. Look at this. I don't even need to go to Google Earth. Wow. Whoa. Okay. I'm just looking for anything of any significance nearby that would stand out as odd. What do we got going on over here? Farming. Farming is not odd. We look for power plants. We look for major surface faulting, fissuring, cracks in the ground. We also look for volcanoes in some locations. Let's back it out and just take a look. Oh, now hold on. Look what we have here. We have a bulge in the edge of the craton, which is a separate portion here. This might even be part of Zealandia, the ancient continent. Let's go down and take a look on Google Earth. And you know what? I'm going to need to get the coordinates on this before we go any further. Let us get the coordinates from the USGS, since they're going to give it to us down to a very fine point. And put those in on Google Earth and just see if there's anything on Google that shows that the Australian maps don't. Sometimes you just have to zoom out far enough to see the plate boundaries. Oh, what's this? It's a little bit of, it looks like, what would you call that, an Australian crossroad? What the heck is that? Is that how you, an Australian roundabout, right? All right. A little joke. What do we got going on here? Lakes, water weight earthquakes can happen, but usually they're not this big, so we'll leave that out. All right, what I'm seeing here is the edge of the craton. There's an interior craton. You can see the lowlands versus the highlands. You want to think of it like that. And we definitely go up in elevation by about 150 feet. This is about 500 to 600 feet over here. This is about 400 feet over here. And 500 to 600 feet, we start to go down as we get over here. So this is slightly higher than this. And I would say this is just a remnant or a broken piece of the interior edge of one of the cratons. that makes up the interior portion of the plate of Australia itself. And the exterior portion of the craton, you can see it. It's bent and twisted around the outside edge, and it rises. In the center, you have folds on your plate. We have stuff like this in the United States, in Arkansas, for instance, almost the exact same type formations, but they're covered in trees in the United States. Here, they're somewhat desert-like in Australia. That's folds and bends in the edge of one of your cratons. This is another over here. And this is one over here. I think there's 4 that make up Australia. There might be even more, but I'm pretty sure there's at least 4. And this would be one of them. We're on the outside edge of it. I don't see anything else there. Let's just make sure we don't have any power generation stations nearby. The Mara. The Myra. How do you say that? How would an Australian person say that? Man, I'll go out there. I need to interview the people and find out what do we got going on here. Australian farming of some kind, I guess. Look at that. That's how they do it down there. It's crocodile skin farming. That's what it is. I had to crack a crocodile joke, guys. It's good to be back. Okay. What else do we have? Sorry. Okay, let's carry on, class. What else has been happening aside from a rare earthquake in Australia? How about them turning the seismic feedback on off the coast of Oregon? I guess they're gearing up to start reporting the volcanic eruption, the 10,000 earthquakes. Yeah, okay, well, that happens every day. So the 10,000 earthquake are every week. So they're going to have to turn on this sucker at some point, and this is probably the kickoff point for turning it on. In the next couple of days, you're going to see a big stack of earthquakes appear there, and that's just because they're turning the feed on to show the public that it's erupting. Never mind, it's been going on for, what, months, weeks, years? It erupted 10 years ago with 10,000 earthquakes, and nobody cared. Let's go take a look at it, though. Let's go see where the earthquake is, 4.2, off the coast of Oregon. Oh, well, we're pretty far from the axial seamount, aren't we, boys and girls? Here's the axial seamount up here, but the earthquake is coming in all the way down here on, what is the name of this place? The East Blanco Depression. So the East Blanco, which is really just part of a whole bunch of segments that go all the way up to the north and meet up with Vancouver Island. You see the volcanoes here. So we are on the edge of, I don't know, several thousand small underwater vents that some turn into large spatter cones underwater. I wouldn't call them spatter cones, but they turn into large mounts underwater. Buttes, if they were on land, you would see them. Here's a whole chain of undersea volcanoes. Some of them have actual craters in them. Okay, just to show you how many there are and where we are. So we're looking for the axial seamount to finally start to erupt again, but the axial seamount erupted 10 years ago, and it continually erupts. Look how many eruptive points are out here. Every one of these is a small undersea volcano. You see them. I don't know, there's like 10,000 right there. Every time there's an earthquake, there's probably an eruption. With this many volcanoes, I mean. Right? If they're separate, that'd be weird. So we have a 4.2 out there in the ocean. I'm expecting them to turn the feeds on, which will then make it look like there's a bunch of earthquakes suddenly out there. And that's them just turning it on. So it won't be an increase in the actual number of earthquakes. But it will look like it, and they certainly won't correct anything on it. Or they won't correct the public. So they'll let the public think that it's just suddenly a bunch of new earthquakes as this thing's erupting. Guaranteed. And then they'll shut it off again after it's done erupting. And they may even throw in a few large earthquakes in there. Let's go up to the northwest. We have a swarm of zeros. Negative earthquakes, actually. Hold on, hon. A magnitude negative 0.4. We have a black hole forming along the edge of the craton. It's a black hole sucking in energy. No, actually, this is such a small earthquake that it's actually looking like there's a dissipation of energy without anything happening. And it could be that there could be a collapse of some kind that actually does suck in energy. Okay, let's go look it up, though. Let's go see where this computer says a bunch of nothings are happening. All of a sudden, an outbreak, a swarm of nothing is happening here. That's what it says, literally. There's stack upon stack of small 0.0s. It's basically the computer pointing at something and saying, see, nothing's happening there. Where are we? Flathead Lake? Well, I guess that's my lake. I got a flathead. I'm got dropped. All right. Look, I'll pick on myself. So what else is here now? How far are we? Just in general, we're going to look. We're very far from Yellowstone. So we are, hundreds of miles from Yellowstone National Park, and we're at the Flathead Reservation, which is, I suppose, for a Native American um, settlement of some kind. I don't see anything else up here. Let's just go zoom in really close and see if there's any kind of power plants here. If there are power plants here, then that might raise my eyebrows a little bit. It's a big enough body of water, you would think they might have one, but okay, don't see much on power generation there. So the only other culprit that we have is the edge of the North American craton itself that goes back up into Canada, and it goes all the way back up into Alaska and connects back up to the north. Of course, I've talked about that for years. So we're on the edge of the craton with a what? Swarm of nothings? Four nothings? No, more than four. Many, many nothings are taking place there on the edge of the craton. And then we go down across the edge of the craton. We go into Yellowstone National Park, where we dead end with all these small nothings coming in from the west, making a definitive line of earthquakes following our arrow, going across the Challis Reserve of Idaho, also pointing in towards the edge of the craton in Yellowstone. Then we get a significant sized 3.8. Is that right? That's a 3.8 to 4.0 earthquake striking up here. It says Fairview, Wyoming, but let's put the coordinates in and just see what's there. Fairview, Wyoming. Now we're getting just south of Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone is up here on the northwest side of Wyoming. Oh, look where we're back to. Haven't had to talk about this in a few years. It's been at least 2 or 3 years since Soda Springs Butte, China Hat, Cinder Island volcano. These are all ancient volcanoes. Here's Cinder Island, for instance. And China Hat Butte, China Cap Butte, the Red Mountain Volcanic Buttes, and an unnamed cone. Let's go look at that. I guess you could go plant your flag on this thing and name it. Camping in that would be kind of cool. Look at that. Don't go there. It's probably private property or something. What else do we have here? Here's the other butte or cone. And then down here, they are actually scraping out the side of this volcano at Soda Spring Hills cinder pits. And the cinder pits are exactly what you would think. Red and black igneous rock, lava rock from the volcanoes there. So we are right next to it. Again, and Sulphur Peak is right to the next of it. I don't think I've got hold on, let's turn on our places. I don't know if that's going to solve the peaks issue here with the names of I have to zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Diamond Peak, Stump Peak. Where is Sulphur? Dry Ridge. Well, it's here somewhere. Henry Peak, Gray Ridge. Come on now, let's find it. Sulphur Peak, maybe it's further south. Anyway, one of these is called Sulphur Peak. I guess you're just going to have to take my word for it. Oh, here it is. There it is. Sulphur Peak is right here, parallel to the earthquake on the other side of the valley. That's about 2 miles, I would say. Hold on. Maybe more. 6 miles. There we go. 3.8 to 4.1 earthquake. Now, let's take them into account. Which one struck first? Well, the 4.2 struck off the coast of the volcano yesterday. Today, a whole line of earthquakes comes in from the west and the northwest, and we get a new 4.0 range earthquake, 3.8, 3.9. As we go in down across, I would expect a new 4 to come rolling into Texas, a new 4 to come rolling into Oklahoma at the drill points across Texas and Oklahoma. And now Texas and Oklahoma, I should not need to show these to you because I've showed them for years. And at this point, it's been 14 years of me showing this. Texas drill points, nothing but all the way across. Look at this line of earthquakes. Let's zoom in really close. You'll see it's going from the tip of Texas to the west, going right up into the middle of Texas, obviously. See that? But if you look at the lines of earthquakes, they're actually coming in from the northwest. It's spreading across this edge of the craton, but each set is coming in from the northwest and going down to the southeast. From the northwest to the southeast, from the northwest to southeast. The wave is coming in from up to the northwest. Now, as we go beyond the edge of the craton, the wave carries on. Momentum. Think about a car driving really fast down a straight road. And at the end of the road, you have a very tight curve, but you don't slow down. Now the wave is coming. The wave is going down a straight path along the edge of the craton. And then it hits this curve in the plate. And same thing, path of momentum is maintained. Momentum of a moving object, if you want to think of it like that. This is a moving wave. And it carries on, and it reflects back into itself. So it hits down here, and down here in southeast Texas. I'm going to show it to you because this is actually pretty impressive looking, where the wave is reflecting off of right now. But it's going to reflect back into itself. And we're going to get a new 4 breaking or bigger in Texas very soon in the next couple days or less. Probably upper 4. I mean, the wave coming in is equal to 4, and it's going to reflect off itself and come back into itself and break in the middle, and that's where the new break takes place. But now we'll back it out and show it to you. I said it looks impressive because it actually does. So right here is the earthquake, and right down the road are all these little white dots. See all these white dots? See how they kind of go on? I'll back it out a little bit more. See how they kind of go on? These are not houses. Every one of these white dots on the ground is a different drill point. And I'll zoom in on some. We can just randomly pick it, but we'll go back up to where the earthquake is. Earthquake there, and nearest spots that I can show you on this, at least, from, 2023, 2 years old. Drill point here and here. Oil and gas. Mainly oil, it's Texas. And then you get the idea of how many different drill points there are. And you can see the shadow of the jack of the pumps on some of these and the tanks and the pipelines that connect between them. Now, some of these are going to be for fracking, for oil and gas, and others are going to be straight up oil. But all of these white spots are drill points. Now, you can see where it starts. So it starts right here, and then it goes down, and there's obviously a huge oil patch through here. And it goes on and on and on through several Texas counties, and then it spreads out to even more, which we could go into at another time. But the earthquake is on the edge of the craton here because the wave is coming in and reflecting off those drill points that are down there just by chance, and it's going to reflect into itself, which means a new earthquake near 4.0 plus should be striking somewhere in here in between these two sets of earthquakes. That puts like Midland, Texas to the east by southeast to the arrow. Midland's up here where all the earthquakes are right now. So watch between these two sets of quakes for a new one to break that's significant. Same for in Oklahoma. Same thing is going on. Earthquakes are coming in, and if you look at them, and if we connect the dots over the past few days of which way the earthquakes are shaped, if you want to think about which way they're coming in from, it's coming in from the northwest. Each line of earthquakes, it kind of points back like a triangle or an arrow where it's spreading out. And it's spreading out across. It's coming in from up here. One lone rare 2.4 out there in Nebraska, which they said was a quarry blast. Or at least that's what it was listed as for a little while. Up in the northeast, went and looked this one up, and I was like, wow, hey, an earthquake hit. And then look at it, quarry blast. But that's weird, because just the day before, a 1.8 hit at 5 kilometers deep that wasn't a quarry blast. Hmm. First a 2.0 range earthquake, 1.8, strikes the day before, then a quarry blast the next day in the same state? Why are there no quarry blasts across the rest of the country? Right? So it's a good question to ask. I don't know. To me, this is them hiding the second earthquake. Like the first earthquake, they reported it, they allowed it, right? It said reviewed by a seismologist, stamped off. It's a 1.8, no big deal. We can just ignore it. But then the next day, a bigger earthquake hits. And in order to bury it, in order to not get any kind of people asking any questions, they call it a quarry blast. That's to me like the most likely scenario for this, for real. Now, I'm going to go look it up though, and there's a quarry there next to it. Here's the 1.8 first. So this is the one that they say was an earthquake 5 kilometers deep the day before. Here. Below. Well, let's turn on everything, make sure we got it all on here. There we go. Below the Connecticut River, Canfield Woods. But the new earthquake gets reported right here. Well, here, let's go. Pull the coordinates. Slightly different location. The odds of this would be very, very, like 1 in a 10,000 chance for these two to happen in the same day. We have thousands of earthquakes per day, or at least hundreds per day across the country. Times that by 365, and that gives you the odds for the year for this obviously to take place. There we go. Here's our quarry. So they have it coming in next to this quarry here. You see? The Connecticut Department of Motor Vehicles, huh? What else do we have here? Quest Diagnostics. You guys going to go get a piss test? What else? A urinalysis. I mean, I'm sorry. Sorry. We got to keep it proper. The scientific term is urinalysis, Dutch. Yeah, whatever you say, buddy. All right, now let's carry on. I know. This is an improper update. I'm not recording. Like I said, I'm going to put this on YouTube some other day. So do we think it's a quarry blast, I guess is the next question is, do you buy that this one here the day before on, let's see, the 19th was a 1.8, and then on the 20th, a 2.0. What's the difference, right? Well, I think both are earthquakes. And that they put the second earthquake next to the quarry to blame the quarry, as opposed to scaring residents on the East Coast from a series of small earthquakes that break out. Because if people see that, they start to think, oh, it's moving. And then you'd have to ask, oh, what's moving? And then that gets us into this. The edge of the craton. I already told you, up in the Northwest, up in Idaho, right across Idaho. Look at the black arrow on this map from 14 years ago. And the earthquakes. It's a perfect match. I mean, I don't need to re-show it to you. It's there. We already looked at it. It's a perfect match. The wave is coming in across the edge of the craton, and it's going up the East Coast, and the whole craton's shifting right now. So you're going to start to see craton shifting events, earthquakes, and other things. Mystery booms and rumbles, small explosions as methane gas is released across the edge of the craton. That kind of stuff will start happening. And they'll blame other things because they do not want to admit that the craton edge shifts because they said it doesn't. They put out all kinds of statements saying that I was faking earthquakes and stuff to try and explain away the earthquakes going on the edge of the craton, guys. They will not, professionals, will not admit that there's a flow of anything going across the plate because they attacked me personally over saying that there was. So now they went out on a limb and they sawed it off themselves. And that's where we are now with the craton thing. So the professionals are still denying this is all happening, guys. I'm not kidding. The professionals are denying that the earthquakes are flowing from the West Coast to the East Coast over the course of a week. Meanwhile, I told you guys to watch the Northeast this week and watch up from Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Well, here's Maine with the 1.7 earthquake that struck yesterday. Vermont and New Hampshire are right next to it, these two small states. And then this happens. We're talking a distance of 100 miles from these two states to this state. Well, hold on. There'll be some egghead who tells me that it's more than 100 miles between the two here, that this is more than 100 miles. Maybe it is. Let's go see. I'm a bad judge of distance. Let's just go see. No, it's 40 miles. Here's 70 miles. And let's back it out a little further. There's 100 miles. So if I'm warning right here, and right here gets hit, and I'm trying to get it within 200 miles for forecasting purposes, here's 200. That's just my general goal on 200, trying to get it within 200 miles of an area. So Maine, we were watching, and the reason we were watching Maine, I told you guys, Tennessee all the way down here got hit with a rare 4.1 to 4.2 earthquake this past week, right in here. So a rare earthquake in Tennessee, 4.1, led me to tell you guys we need to watch for an earthquake to break out up here in Maine. But here's the problem. This is about a magnitude and a half, 2 magnitudes under what I was looking for. A 2 plus a 1.8 plus a 1.7. What does that equal? About a 2.2. And I'm looking for more like a 3.5 to 4.0 earthquake to strike up here. So it could be one of two things. They're not reporting earthquakes up here anymore. They shut it off. That's possible. Another is that the earthquake struck on the Canada side of the border and USGS didn't report it because it's an international earthquake. They do that. You know that, right? If a 4-point-something earthquake strikes here in Canada, USGS tends to not report it. They just ignore it. If it strikes on the Canada side of the border, they don't report it. We've caught them at least 20 times. 20, 30, 40, I don't know. A bunch of times we've caught the USGS not reporting earthquakes across the border in Canada, and their excuse is that it's an international earthquake. They don't cover anything under 4.5 internationally, they said. And then we came back to the USGS and said, if you don't cover anything internationally, 4.5 plus, what's this 4.2 over in China? What's this 4.1 over in the Mideast? And then they don't answer. So they just cherry pick what they want to report, and I wouldn't put it past them to hide a 4.1 up in the Northeast, because that proves that there's something going across the craton. And they all said there's nothing going across the edge of the craton. Yes, never mind what you see on the screen. Okay, what else is happening? Let's go take a quick look at the West Coast. So California. What happened in Southern California? Why are we not getting that 4 and 5.0 level activity that we were looking for this past week? That's the only flop, I think, for this week so far for me. I was looking down here in the LA basin for 4.0 plus, maybe even up to 5, maybe even larger. But I was looking for 4-ish or greater, 4.9. And you're looking at it. We had Jack Squad strike down in Southern California in the past several days. So where did the energy go? Well, if I'm looking for an outbreak to take place in Southern California in the 4-ish range, and instead we get a 5 in Texas and a 4 in Tennessee, and we start moving in the Northeast, clearly the wave that I was looking for to go down to Southern California went to Texas, Tennessee, and the East Coast. We only had 2 places for it to go. One was down to Southern California. It was a 50-50 coin flip on that. Now, I got it wrong. But why did it go to the east? Well, I think path of least resistance might play into this. That if it's easier for the wave coming in from the north, and we've got a displacement happening in the northwest, it's going to go to the east on the edge of the craton as opposed to try to brute force bash its way down to Southern California through the edge of the plate and break down here. It's the only explanation I can come up with. Why did the energy go to the east? Why did the chicken cross the road? I guess it's a scientific term there too. Well, to get to the other side, obviously, and a path of least resistance. What else are we going to talk about? So what are we going to look for? The only thing that I see happening here that I would expect to be accompanying a large earthquake are the stacks of small earthquakes going along the San Andreas, going down the Elsinore, branching out to San Jacinto Fault, and Furthermore, going back down to the Imperial Fault down to the south, and it's all connecting. It's all small earthquakes, though. It's a bunch of zeros, ones, and twos at the most. But think of this like the roll of a snare drum before a bass drum kicks in. When you start to hear the drum roll, the high end, a bunch of small earthquakes. Then you listen for the big boom of the bass to come in as the drum. And that's in musical terms. But if you look at the location that we're talking about here, the spots that are swarming, let's go check them out. We need to see the spots that are swarming. This will tell us if something's getting ready to happen. So if this is on a fault, this will be different than if it's on a volcano. If it's on a volcano, we're getting ready to have a larger earthquake. If it's on a fault, it's a sign of the wave passing through the area. The faults guide it like a river. The volcanoes trap the wave somewhat. I think due to their magma chambers and their fractures to the surface. Okay, I mean, here we are. We're in China Lake. We're in between Volcano Peak and unnamed volcanic butte, but let's go look at Volcano Peak here. So Volcano Peak, obviously, is a peak of volcanoes, and they go off down to small buttes and spatter cones. Some are covered in more fresh lava flows, fresher, and others are more ancient. You see how many times this has erupted in the past, a few different times. And likely these will, at some point, a few thousand years in the future, will erupt again as a new push comes into the magma chamber down below and causes a new fracture to take place. You see how many times it's happened there, and then it's happened over to the east as well. All of these are the same thing. The unnamed one, again, I mean, I wouldn't go out into the desert on China Lake where it's military testing facility, but if they'd let you go put plant your flag on it and name it, it's probably already got a name. It's just not on Google Earth. So that's where the first set of earthquakes is, or the first stack of earthquakes down in Southern California is. Let's go over here and just see what's happening here at Vincent, California. Vincent. Okay, I don't recall having to look up any earthquakes in Vincent directly, so I don't know what's there. I know it's along the San Andreas. What's this? Oh, nice house out there in the middle of the desert. You got a house. What else is going on? Well, here's the fault. So the fault is right here. I would lean towards the fault unless there's some very suspicious location at the location. Like if we had a large power jet. Hold on. If we had large power passing through the area. Well, Dutch, this goes out to Raytheon's. Oh, my goodness. Okay, hold on. It's a lot of power going through right there, guys. What do we have going on over here? We have a dam with no water power generation going on there. It's a reservoir. Massive quarries over on the east side of the fault. Well, I'm just going to say it. We're real close to that huge power station there. And that's going to be bringing power to substation. So that's going to be bringing a lot of power in and then dividing it out at that point. Probably to go out into the Mojave. Just a guess. It could be coming in from the Mojave and going in across over into LA. It could be going the opposite direction. There we go. Okay. Well, why does it matter? Power generation, power transfer stations. We tend to see earthquakes right next to them a lot. And if they're along a fault, it precipitates an earthquake. It's like humans put something on the surface that's generating or carrying very low frequency electricity. And then down on the plate, there's a ultra low frequency electricity, Mother Nature's. And the two are very low and they combine. Or where they meet, the area where they meet can form a new wave called a scalar, which was controversial. A scalar wave, which comes out of the scalar. A scalar is just an area where two things meet, or an area in geometry. But a scalar wave is a wave, as according to Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Bearden, is generated when you have two or more intersecting frequencies. Interferometry takes place, and if on the right wavelength, you can get an actual action at a distance where the two waves collide, instead of them passing through each other, that they have an actual effect. So that's different than just two waves passing through each other. And then we get a earthquake breaking out next to a power station as the waves are intersecting. I think it's electromagnetic, but I can't prove it yet. I stand by it, though. It keeps happening all over the place. So what does a volcano and a power station have? Well, they're both catch points in the plate. The wave is going to catch it, the human-made power wave, and break point in the plate from Mother Nature at the volcanic field. Same with the drill points. What do they all have in common? They're all catching this wave in the plate, whether it's electromagnetically caught by a power station, or whether it's caught by an actual drill point in the plate, or whether it's caught by Mother Nature's crack in the plate in a magma chamber. They're all doing the same thing. They're catching the wave. It's reflecting into itself. You get an earthquake outbreak at that point where it reflects. Like waves breaking off the edge of a pool and reflecting back towards you. And if you keep putting more energy towards the edge of the pool with a raft or something, and you start making waves and they're coming back towards you, you can pump up the water with energy and it starts to form into what's called a standing wave. Let's go down into the LA Basin. Oh, look where we're going. We're going to North Hollywood. North Hollywood. I don't know, man. I guess we have to suit up before going to this place. Put on your safety gear. Put on your prophylactics and your football gear. Let's go. All right. Right? I feel dirty just going to this. Oh, this is the nice part of town, you tell me? How many pools are there? Come on, please. We got a water weight earthquake, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pools all in one spot. That's water. I'm kidding. I jest. The USGS says there are such things as water weight earthquakes, but we're talking bodies of water, not pools. However, this is at looks like somewhat of a McMansion. No offense if you live there. Let's go take a look. Oh, they don't even have street level on the street. It's that exclusive. Let's go see. Ooh, real nice. Look at the mowed lawns and keeping up with the Joneses and everything. Oh, look, not a through street, private street off the side of there. Can't go wrong. What else is nearby? Let's just take a quick gander and see if there's anything else worth mentioning. Now, I know down to the south, there was the fires that took place. You guys remember Laurel Canyon and all the fires that took place across here? It was absolutely devastated, the fires that took place in here. But that's all long ago. That's many months ago, and this is in a residential area. The only thing I'd want to look for are old drill points that would be here. Maybe going back to the late 1800s and the early 1900s, they actually had drill points for oil and gas all the way across this entire area. But I'd have to go get old maps. And I'm not going to do that now. I could assume there are some, but there might not have been any right here. What is this? Oh, some kind of universal entertainment facility. Isn't that grand? Okay, I don't see anything else other than, let's go check the USGS fault zone map now and just see if they have any mapped faults through here. Well, okay, we are directly on one. Hold on. Now, I know it just loaded. There we go. Can we get a name on this, please? What, the fault zone map isn't giving names? What? Look, you move your mouse over, it doesn't give you the name? I don't know. It used to be a feature on the USGS. You'd move your mouse over the fault and it would give you the name. It's a tiny little fault here. It only appears when you back it out to the 5th back out on the USGS page. It's a tiny little fault. It could have any name to it. It's not going to be the Elsinore or the San Jacinto. It's some small little fault there. Hold on. I'm so retentive on this. Oh. All right. U.S. faults. We're going to a different map. Here it is. Here's the other map. Okay. Going into North Hollywood. Oh, look. They disappear when you zoom in beyond the third click. You know. No, look. Hey, hold on. I can move it. I can see it all the way. Is that it? It says unnamed fault. I'm not kidding. Hold on. Unnamed fault near Wadstrom. Unnamed fault. Why would they have them on? That's just asinine. Okay, hold on. Oak Ridge fault, and Oak Ridge fault. So these three here are labeled. These four up here are not. I'm just going to say it. Go all the way down here. Is this it? Is this the one I'm supposed to be clicking on? You guys are telling me in chat I'm supposed to be clicking on this one. Like it matters. Look, that's the one we wanted. And look what it says. Unnamed possible fault in North Hollywood. Well, that's the name of it. All right. I love this. You guys like it? You guys like it? How you like that? All right. We're going to watch Southern California for a new 4. And I got to figure the place out. So let's just go down to the southeast and just see where this is striking. My diagnosis is a new 4 to strike in Southern California, and that I got it wrong last week and it went over to Texas. Let's go see where this last swarm is. Down to the east by southeast, unnamed fault. It's not my fault. Get it? It's called the not my. That's the not my fault. What is this? San Jacinto Wilderness. We are on the San Jacinto Fault directly. Let's just make sure there's nothing else here. Where is the NexRad radar? Anybody know where the NexRad radar is for South LA? I want to say it's somewhere right here. Oh well. Like I said, this update is more just to let you know I'm alive than to really do a full seismic update. But okay, so this is San Jacinto. I'll put it to San Jacinto for now. If we find the radar station is right there, I'll be mind blown. So what does it all mean? There's a wave coming in. This past week, it took the path of least resistance, dropped off a 5 in Texas, a 4 in Tennessee, and so far 2s at least up to the northeast. So I think this week, all the signs are there. We're swarming in Southern California now. That was not happening last week. We did not have multiple large stacks of earthquakes in Southern California. So that kind of lets me know something's coming down, and it's getting down to the border, and that's a geothermal pumping operation at the volcano there at the border. That all being said, I have to find the halfway point between all this hot mess. What would you say the halfway Look at it. What would you say the halfway point is between all these earthquakes up here coming in from the north? There's like a line of earthquakes you see going across the Garlock Fault back up to the volcano that I showed you, Volcano Peak. Between there and here. Between this line of earthquakes up here to the north and this one set of earthquakes down here to the south, the halfway point between those two. That's where the new earthquake's going to strike. So the middle of it brings us right down in here along the San Andreas Fault. That's next to the Mojave, east of LA will look for a new 4. Is that if it's any bigger, it'll matter. If it's any bigger, they'll feel it in LA. If it's any smaller, it won't matter to anybody at all. But I think it'll be a 4. That's what we're dealing with now off the coast, which is the good news. Okay. Took a long time to get to that. Jeez. What else is happening? How about an equidistant spacing of 5s across the whole East Pacific? And when I say equidistantly spaced, I am not exaggerating when we go from, let's look at the 5s and greater. 4.9 and greater. USGS, we got to include 4.9s with USGS, guys. Anyway, you see it. Equidistantly spaced going from Central America all the way down to South America, or from Peru back all the way up to Guatemala or El Salvador. And then down to the south, it's the same thing. It's spread out equally, but you have to go around the bends of the plate because this doesn't look like the same distance between here and here as it is from here to here. But if you go around the bend of the plate, either south or north, we have to go up, around, back over, around, and down. And on this, we literally go across the plate boundary, which is shaped like a sawtooth. It goes down, over, down, over, down, over, down, over, down, over, and goes right to here. It's about the same distance between the two. And when I say about, we're talking about a wave that's going through something that's uneven. If this was a perfectly rectangular tank in a laboratory, these would be perfectly spaced out. But because they're contained in an uneven tank, they're somewhat unevenly spaced. But again, it's equidistant spacing across a vast distance. And the same thing happens across the other side of the planet. This is 5.0 and greater. If you include the 4s, you'll see that the 4s fill in the halfway points between the 5s. And I mean the exact halfway point between the 5s get filled in with the 4s. So if we take it down to 4s, you should be able to see, boom, all the way down along the coast, going from Central America down to South America, like a stepping stone path of one bigger stone and one smaller stone, or smaller stone, bigger stone, smaller stone, bigger stone, smaller stone, bigger stone. There's one spot to be filled in for it to be a perfect connection all the way across in the last 2 days. So what does that mean? It means a lot is moving, different from where we were over the past several weeks and months. We went months without crazy activity. Now we're getting back to a fairly significant amount of 5 and 4.0 level activity. The next step, and 6s. The next step up is 1 magnitude up from where we are now. So if we're currently at 6.3 to 6.4 in the West Pacific, and we're going to go the next magnitude up, that means we're going to be talking about mid-range 7s this coming week. And that's a big step up. So then we have to find our spots where the large earthquake activity is going to take place. This past week, the spots we were watching got hit. They all got hit with about a half magnitude less. So we were looking for up to 6.9, 6.4 to 6. Well, actually up to 7. We're looking for up to 7.0, and instead we got 6.4s and 6.5s. Half magnitude off on the forecast, which is good. I'm trying to get it down to 1 magnitude, so that's within the realm of acceptability for me. Again, if we're looking for a bunch of mid-range to upper 6s to near 7 strike, and we get a bunch of mid-range 6s, okay, that's the spread we were looking for. I'm not going to forecast a large earthquake now in the West Pacific. We're going to have to wait and see what happens over the next couple days. So I will just generally tell you we're going to take a step up to the 7.4 level. And the general spot I will watch will be between our current sets of deep earthquakes over the last 2 days. And it already got hit once, so I don't think anybody will be shocked by this when we look between our sets of deep earthquakes. Just make sure. Yeah. Papua New Guinea. Again, we got a set of deep earthquakes all the way over at Afghanistan. Let's wait for it. They're raised slightly higher off the globe, the planet. We got a set of deep earthquakes here. And we got a set of deep earthquakes real deep here. We also have another set all the way on the other side of the plate, which won't play into this. We're going to look between our sets of deep earthquakes. There's already a 6.5 there. 1 magnitude larger should strike between our current sets of earthquakes over the last 48 hours. Man, what a mess. How many earthquakes is that? Hold on. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like 11 different earthquakes. We have to find the halfway point between, or the triangulated middle point along the plate boundary here between all of these. And if we take this one in the middle into account, we then can further reduce it down between these two. So this is like a giant target. Here's the giant target. We find the halfway point between both ends. Think of it like bookends on one end, bookends on the other, and then we just say, where's the middle in this? Again, if this side on the left is bookend and this side on the right is bookend, and I asked you to find the middle point, you would zoom in right here. And then we say, what's the middle point between these two? And there it is. Where the rings overlap, it's Papua New Guinea. So, new 7.4 to 7.5, Papua New Guinea, most likely in the next few days. And that's not the only one. I'm just saying that's the most likely one that's going to strike in the next few days in the West Pacific. A lot going on. There's a lot going on, and I haven't been on to talk to you guys in a minute, so I hope you're doing well. We're doing okay here at my end. Things took a huge shift at my end. I can't tell you, I literally can't tell you, and I shouldn't tell you what has happened here at my house, at my life, what's been going on. First of all, it's none of your guys' business. Second of all, I don't want to share personal information with you, that kind of stuff. But just know that things have totally changed for me on all kinds of levels, for the better. For the better. There's only been a few things that I consider to be bad that have happened in the past several months, and that's when like I upload a video to YouTube and the government comes, or somebody falsely called the cops here to our house at 2 a.m. for a suicide check because I took too much ivermectin, they said. Well, I told you guys I took ivermectin, but they called the cops, and it was just, that kind of stuff going on. But other than that, things have been actually going better for me trying to get out to the real world as opposed to work here online. I told you guys I was going to have to go do it at some point, try to break off and go work somewhere because I was being deprived views and money and everything online. Like I have to beg you guys for super chats or something to try and survive, So broke off there, went over and did some work for a long period of time now for the last several months, and things have gone way better. And big changes underway too for me and the Duchess, all kinds of stuff. Good stuff. But I have a duty. I feel I've got a duty to at least report to you guys every once in a while, let you know what I see is going on, if I see a big increase taking place. And I do have to get a video back up on YouTube. You could just say I'm scared to do it. Would you want to keep uploading videos to YouTube if you were getting visits from the cops and freaking flyovers from the government and everybody giving you shit? Pardon my language. Would you? You do it out of a duty for what's right? So I'm not quitting. I just backed off for a little while for the interest of protecting my family so I can do it more in the future. Look, when CBS News shows up to your 80-year-old mother's house and intent to harass you, that's when you back off for a minute out of the consideration of your 80-year-old mother. You know what I mean? Until she tells you, you keep fighting no matter what, son. That's what she told me. Okay, anyway, we're doing okay. You're doing likely even better, hopefully, than you were the last time we were all together. And if not, I hope it does go better for you soon. It's not all gray skies anymore, even though there's still a lot of man-made clouds I'm seeing over my head. I'll be back if anything else significant happens. I'm going to leave the stream on. We haven't been playing music because I literally don't have an audio amplifier here at this PC that I'm using right now. So I can't hear music. I don't have any speakers or anything. I got to get this whole thing set up here. So I've moved my office into a new room. I got to get it all set up. But for the time being, you've got the stream. And you should be able to hear the audio at some point. I will turn this audio on so that you guys can see that or hear that. So I can see it. Click right here. There we are. So now you should be able to hear the ding of the bell. Let's just make sure it works. Yeah. I see the audio is registering on the screen, even though I can't hear it. Plug in headphones? No. No, the PC I've got, if it's mono on the back, it's a long story. Yeah, if I really need sound, I'll plug in a pair of headphones to the mono jack on the back. Yeah, mono, right? Like, it's got a sound card. Need to get that hooked up. Okay, it's been good. By the way, let's go over quickly to the chat room and just check and see. Were you able to hear me okay? I mean, did it sound really bad? Oh, you're probably 30 seconds behind live on me. I'm checking the chat room. I don't see any response. Sounds fine. Sounds okay. Okay, I'll get the other microphone hooked back up so you don't have to hear that. It's just more of a desky sound, like we're kind of all in the same room together. But yeah, I will. I'll get the studio microphone. We'll get that hooked up at some point. Much love to all you guys. I know it's been a crazy world out there. Everybody was like all aggro and going crazy for a while. I think things are hopefully starting to calm down. I I haven't been posting on political events much lately. I've been posting more religious content on X. So more faith-based content is what I'm posting on X. X told me they didn't want earthquake stuff. Although I've got 120,000 followers on X who want earthquake information, the greater X community came down on me like a ton of bricks and falsely accused me of all sorts of things. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. The X community itself, the community notes, they came and actually said bad things about me personally, not just the earthquake information. The X community disparaged me. So I made a switch on X to just post random stuff. Since X people don't want earthquake forecast. They said it can't be done. Even they lied to top it off. The X community lied. They said that my method was tested and found to be no better than random. So the X community went further than just denying earthquake forecasting. They actually made up something. They said that my method was tested and found to be no better than random. I asked the X community, the community notes people, and Elon Musk for the tests so I could review them. Turns out they didn't document the tests, they said. No documentation of the tests that they did on my earthquake forecasting method, but it was found to be no better than random, they said. So, right? They made it up, guys. So the community notes made up something, saying something that doesn't exist at all, lying to try and hide my earthquake forecasting method. So, not welcome on X to post earthquake info. But guess what I am posting? Prayers, and religious content I am posting now on X. One of my viewers, I don't know her, X randomly served it up to me. One of my followers on X has a grandson named Jackson who was not able to stay awake and was not remaining conscious. He was falling asleep and not waking up. And it got really bad and they didn't know what the problem was and would not stay awake, couldn't eat and couldn't stand this young boy. I'd say he's probably under 8 years old. I don't know his age. But I saw that this woman was posting for people to pray for her son. So, got a wild hair. Of course, I prayed. I actually hit the floor and prayed. You don't have to hit the floor, guys. That's, I was here in my office by myself. If I did that out in public, you'd probably think I was weird or something. Anyway, I prayed and I left a little comment. I said, done, Then I thought, hey, I could get my viewers to pray too. All I got to do is reshare this and tell them to pray. So I did. Thousands of people responded. I normally make an earthquake post warning the world for a freaking 8.0 earthquake in a populated location, and it hits. Earthquake hits. Happened over in Turkey. And for a couple hundred shares on my freaking earthquake forecasting method, and nobody pays attention. Here I am. Will you please pray for this boy? Thousands of people everywhere. Yes. Hands are up, praying together. And I'm like, yes, dude, this is awesome. And I've got good news to report. God answered our prayers. They were able to find what was wrong. And bring him back up stable. Turns out it was some kind of severe virus that was causing him to not be able to retain sugars, blood sugars, and was off. And then the hydration was off. And then he couldn't retain consciousness and couldn't eat. It was a snowball effect, and he was lethal if they wouldn't have been able to. That it's a fatal thing that can happen if you don't get it taken care of. And they took him to the hospital, kept him overnight. He was able to regain consciousness, if you want to think of it like stop falling asleep, which I think was more like not being conscious. And they're stabilized and going to be going home today, I think, or last night. So that's what I'm doing with my X page now. Why not? I'll try to use it to help other people too. So on Mother's Day, I raised more money for the orphans and the women who want to keep their children, okay, for the babies and the mothers and maternity homes. We did that too. I did one for the maternity homes on Mother's Day as well. So we had the orphans, the motherless, and mothers who want to keep their babies or have struggling to keep their babies for financial reasons or other medical. Shared that. Just trying to do some good with my channel, why not? Jeez. Try helping with earthquakes. Everybody's like, no! I thought you guys wanted to know when an earthquake was coming. You can't know when an earthquake's coming. I'm like, here's the method to do it. No! That's what it is. It is what it is. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, guys. Much love. Life lessons, right? This is the Galileo effect. You try to get him to look through a telescope. You're like, dude, just look through this telescope, man. You're going to see it. You see further. No! Heretic! Kill him! And Galileo's like, no, just put it up to your eye. That's all you got to do. And they're like, it's black magic. I'm not looking through it. It's going to be the devil's work to see through it. No, I'm not looking through it. That's magic in there. You know what they did to Galileo? They did house and prison him, but it's even worse. They made his sister become a freaking nun. Or maybe she did just to get out of trouble. You know what I mean? What a freaking joke, dude. All right. Anyway, things haven't changed since then. It's the same. Only a bunch of atheists are in charge, and they're doing the same damn thing. It turned out it's a human condition, not a religious one. There might be a science experiment to do in here. Find out if it's genetic or not. Some people display it more than others. They'll be hormonal. Okay. The disagreeable hormone, right? Like the know-it-all hormone. It's the one that gets in the way of everybody not being able to admit they were wrong. Okay. I've got a lot to say, but I probably should shut up right about now. I'm joking up until this point. You guys have a good morning, afternoon, night, or evening. I will be back if anything else happens. Good to be here. Good to be back. Much love. I'll be in chat in a second. Yo, guys, I'm just now seeing Quake Cloud's comments. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, there's oil wells that are all the way along there, or were. Oh man. I barely read the chat when I'm talking because I get sidetracked. I'm like Steve Lookner, only worse. I like start talking and okay. You get me on that chat, man. Next thing you know, bad things happen. Okay, all right. Good to see you. And Diamond Gold, good to see you. Red Split Rail Fence, good to see you. Tiny Music, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Class, thank you for being here. Aloha, Mr. Hand. It's good to be here, guys. Much love. I will be around. I'll be in chat in a second again. If you're at the DMV and if you get your picture taken, always remember to make the goofiest face you can. I was chewing gum. I actually was chewing gum in one of my driver's license pictures recently, past several years, and it was an awesome picture because my mouth was open and it looked like I was saying "yay" or something. Like I looked like the biggest airhead in the world with my mouth hanging open, kind of like. Anyway, it's perfect. As a matter of fact, it was so funny that one time I got pulled over for real for speeding, and I gave it to the cop, and they laughed at me. I used to show it to people to make them laugh. Look at my driver's license picture. It's on record somewhere. This last time, my wife and I both decided to give the thing crazy eyes. We decided to go crazy eye this time. So we both did it. Duchess and I both did it. We opened our eyes real big, like somebody. I know, right? If you can get your spouse to do it with you, it's much better than just doing it on your own. It really is. Yeah. You give the crazy eyes, open your eyes real big and stare right at the camera. It's perfect. Duchess's is better than mine, quite frankly, because I look kind of normal. I'm like, that actually kind of looks normal for me. Duchess actually, I'm like, whoa, you really got crazy eyes, babe. What's this? What? Hold on. What? What is this? So you wait. What am I reading here? Here in Sweden, we just had a 7.5. What? Wait. You mean 7.5 earthquake? What is WAP? Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get the size. What? Oh, never mind. Well, okay, now I'm looking up where I'm like, is this a term that I don't know in seismicity? Right. And I look it up and there is a WAP on the it's a wide azimuth profiling is a type of earthquake measurement. It is. No, there really is. Wide azimuth profiling. Oh God. There's an acronym for everything. So I'm actually looking this shit up. Are you kidding me? I need to go have a smoke. Don't smoke, kids. I'm kidding. Okay. Yeah. 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 No, I see. I quake clouds. Your term, your comment, quake clouds just got blocked because your comment includes the word erotic. I'm going to allow it here. Hold on. All right, your comment's going to show up now. I permitted the term erotic. I didn't even know I banned that word, but apparently I banned the word erotic. I guess I figured there was no reason that erotic would ever need to get used in terms of earthquakes. All right. Hilarious stuff, guys. I'm telling you what, it's great to be back. I'll tell you, if there's one thing I've really missed, it's interacting with the public. Man, oh God. I'll tell you what, the things they don't tell you about when you sign up for, when you go to do science research online and you go to prove your case on earthquake forecasting, the things you see along the way are more interesting than the earthquake forecasting itself. It's kind of like a journey through a wild ride through mysterious creatures to get to where I need to go. It's amazing. Much love, guys. Much love. Yeah, yeah, right. You're sitting there laughing in your car, man. I'm laughing alone in my office here. Geez, my wife's going to think I'm crazy. If she'll be like, what was so funny? I'm like, never mind. All right. All right. Yeah, yeah. It's lunchtime, actually. It's late lunchtime. I'll be back in a few. Going to go eat a little. I'll be back and replenish. And I'll talk some more when I get back. The lucky trolls get to hear me talk. Fingernails on a chalkboard for some, but other people like it, guys. My AI? No. Yep. What kind of message is that? Are you AI? No. AI could never simulate my humor. They could probably get my voice pretty good, but the humor? Nah. And the stories? No way. No, no, the AI would never be able to top these stories. But it's good to see you guys. I'll be back in a minute.